guys, welcome to Sid's Music. I'm Sid, and in today's video we're going to be answering your questions. Earlier this week on Instagram I ran a poll asking you guys to write down whatever questions you wanted to know about me. So today we're going to answer them. Let's get started. The biggest question that I get asked is how many instruments can I actually play? Most of you guys know that I play the piano and the trumpet. Those are kind of my main two, but I can actually play 15 different instruments. And here they are. We have piano, trumpet, saxophone, flute, clarinet, guitar, ukulele, harmonica, drums, dulcimer, mandolin, violin, steel drum, kalimba, and the bells. I think that's all 15 of them. My plan is to keep adding to that list until I know over 20 or 25 different instruments. Which leads us to our next question is, if you could learn any instrument that you don't already play, what instrument would it be and why? Now, I had a really hard time picking which instrument, so I picked my top two, which is number one, the cello. I just love how deep and rich sounding the cello is. The next instrument that I'd want to learn how to play is a much less common instrument known as the ooroo. The ooroo is a Chinese two-stringed bowed instrument. Here's what it sounds like. To me, I don't know why, but I'm fascinated by the sound. It just feels so calming, yet a little bit eerie and a little bit like drawing you in. And I just think it is one of the most beautiful sounding instruments. Also, it looks really cool. Like, can you imagine me just playing like this little stick with a little round thing on the end, like with a bow? To me, it is one of the most beautiful sounding instruments. And that's just my opinion. Our next question is probably the deepest question on here. And there are a lot of different variations that you guys asked, but it was, what made you fall in love with music? What got me interested in music? Who inspired me? Was there a specific event? And it all starts back when I was about 4 or 5. When I was in the first grade, my parents forced me to take piano lessons. So I started piano lessons in the first grade, went there every Monday after school at 3:30. It was a lot of hard work, and to be honest, I didn't really appreciate it at the time. I really enjoyed piano, but I was like, yeah, this is something that I'm forced to do. Well, then as I got a little bit older, it started to have a little bit more meaning to me. I am not very good at expressing my feelings, so the piano gave me a way to put my emotions into a song or a feeling or whatever, and was really able to help me process what was going on in my life. Miss Verlaine, my piano teacher, was probably the first one who inspired me to do music, and she pushed me to limits I didn't even know were possible. But that really wasn't the turning point. In the 5th grade, I joined band. As I grew up in the band and started to create a family in them, something about music and being able to play music with my friends really brought me joy. But again, was not the turning point for me. Even as I got into high school, I started writing music. I actually had my first song I ever wrote on my wall in my room. I was like, man, I love music, but I just didn't think it was going to be a career. So even as I went into college, I actually was an engineering major. And then as I was sitting through my engineering classes, I just thought, man, this is boring. I can't do this the rest of my life. So I went back to what I knew, the piano. I started playing the piano again. I started realizing how much I missed being in band. And I really think that was the turning point. It really wasn't a singular person or a singular event. It was a combination of growing up in piano lessons, growing in music in high school, creating that family in band, and then one day deciding, I can't live without this. And deciding, how can I make this a part of my everyday career? And that's how I got into music. I switched my major to music, and I have never turned back since. The next question was, how do you deal with unnecessary band drama? To be honest, I don't. If there's a lot of band drama going around, I try to keep myself out of it. I don't want to get involved. That's their issue, that's their problem. I cannot add one more thing to my schedule and my life, so I just kind of step out. Now, if there comes the chance where I do have to be involved, my goal usually is to kind of hear both sides of the story and try to find a compromise. Even if that compromise is, you guys just don't speak to each other for a bit and let everyone cool off. But yeah, my best advice is just try to stay out of it. My next question was, what's your favorite post-concert snack? I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I love going to get ice cream after a concert. My personal favorite is cookie dough ice cream from Braum's. I know a lot of you don't know what Braum's is, but it's quite literally the best ice cream in Oklahoma. If you're ever in Oklahoma, please go get some. Another question is, what was your favorite band memory? My favorite band memory is actually my last halftime performance in high school ever. Now, you're probably like, Sid, how the heck is that your favorite memory? Yeah, no, it was horrible. I have plenty of pictures of me crying. I remember playing our last song, horns coming down, we were about to play the fight song, and our school did a thing where the seniors played the fight song by themselves second time through. So we played it all together as a band one more time, and then there were 5 of us seniors. We were all lined up, and it was just us playing the fight song, and I bawled my eyes out. At the end of that though, the whole band hugged us, I got to hug everyone, and it was just a really special memory to realize how important, how big of an impact the band had made up on my life. The next big question I asked is, how did I get into the music scene? And because I kind of answered how I got into music, I'm going to talk about more of the social media side of things. My grandpa was a grumpy man. He really didn't like anyone, but something that he loved to do was to put a smile on people's faces. Once when he came over, he asked to hear me play the piano, and I was like, do you want to hear the song that I wrote? He said yes. So I played him the song I wrote, and I played this for a lot of people before that, and they're like, oh, that's pretty good, Sydney, but he was the first person to say, you have to do something with that. You cannot not do music. Well, then I started watching Two Set, and I was like, man, these guys are making music funny. And if you didn't know, music industry is really, really serious. And so I was like, wow, they're actually getting to make people smile and make people laugh in an industry that is kind of harsh sometimes. And I was like, man, I would love to do that. I was talking to my best friend about this, and he was like, well, you should do it. You should start making music videos. Start making fun of practicing and instruments. And I was like, okay. So we put together Sid's Music and started making music humor. And now we're here. Now I have a YouTube, an Instagram. I get to make all these funny videos. I get to make you guys smile and laugh and talk about marching bands and trumpets because it deserves to be made fun of. Like, life isn't meant to be serious. And don't get me wrong, there are serious moments, but we should have fun as musicians. We should laugh, we should smile. And so being able to take music, like he said, and do exactly what he did, which was just make people smile, is one of the coolest things I've ever got to done. And I love him, and I miss him, and I hope I'm making him proud. That's how I got where I am today, was just a lot of hard work, a lot of posting, and a lot of filming videos, and a lot of fun. That kind of brings us into our next question, which is, if you could collab with anyone, who would it be and why? Like I said, I started watching Two Set when I was in high school, and I thought they were hilarious. And I would love to collab with them. So Two Set, if you're watching, what do you think? You do music humor, I do music humor. In the comments, everyone at Two Set, so they see this video, maybe we can make this happen. The other person I would love to collab with is really any college marching band. We're actually gonna try to get in contact with some college marching bands so that we can show you guys what it's like to be a part of it. What does game day look like? What does band camp look like? So definitely stay tuned to see if we can get these college marching bands to collab with us so we can get you guys the inside scoop. Another question I got was, how do I feel about scales? Like within music theory, and are they helpful? And yeah, I don't love scales. Nobody likes scales. No one wants to practice them. They're boring. It's just going up and down. And you're like, ugh, this isn't fun. But learning my scales early on was one of the best decisions I ever did. Now when music is in a certain key signature, because I know my scale, it is 10 times more easier to play. So yeah, it sucks. No one wants to practice their scales, but at least spend like 10 minutes. Take that as your warm-up, practice your scales. You'll be so thankful you did. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for asking all these questions. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you guys next time.